Welcome back. New game, new rules. Think of a title later. So, MUFON's going to do a disclosure. If you go to a Texas MUFON meeting, you need $5 to get in the door. The average price of the cost of an Amazon book, it says here Kindle books, $4 to $15. Average book, $9.50. Hardcover books range $13 to $22, which makes the average price $17.50. Time to start talking about the truth here, folks. MUFON does not seem to be selling anything other than $5 at the door. Come in and listen to our dissertation. A disclosure. What they're talking about aliens and spaceships and every instruction manual on the planet, like a Bible, the pyramids, what's up on the cave walls, ancient inscriptions. I guess the Torah would be considered an instruction manual. They talk about it, but they sell you God's dead. How can I prove that? Why is there a pyramid with the third eye that's theistic value on money? Very simple, folks. They conquered the natives in the United States. Sylvie's Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch used to have a temple complex. No way. Yes. And now it's a gravesite. And Christopher Columbus came here with a Bible, and they sold Christianity and the government. But this was theistic native land. And what was told to the government that wasn't told to you, even though it's in the Bible, is very simple. The story of Adam and Eve. And you can correlate this with any native that's on native tribal property, as long as you can make friends, not be aggressive, bring intelligent conversation, and be a friendly trader. Trader of data, goods, eye level, 50-50, everybody wins. So, what does Sylvie's Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch look like to me? Well, Sylvie's Ranch looks like they're selling steaks, meat, and stay on this property. And I think they even sell properties there. Interesting, that was God's land. Gonna get to that. It was clearly marked with trees that were cut down from the people that came over and conquered the natives. Because that was on the Mexico map, which was 2/3 of the United States up to Canada, went across the New Orleans, Tallahassee way, all the way down to the bottom of Florida, all of Florida, and Skinwalker Ranch and Sylvie's Ranch to the left and the right, because all the tribes were nomadic. All of them. They did the same thing that the Amish do. You know that Rasmussen where they walk the walk, talk the talk on the Amish community and then let them out into the wild outside of their fences? Hopefully they run back for dear God's sakes, it's safer there. Those people. The natives do the same thing. All of them. Because God gave them from all the way up at the top of Canada, all the way to the bottom of South America, all the way to the tip of Alaska. Let's not be silly here. Natives. But a bunch of pyramids are missing in Canada and the United States. Anywhere, he even warned me, anywhere you're supposedly seeing Bigfoot, skinwalkers, thunderbirds, or some hoodoo voodoo stuff, even the natives don't go there. Oh, you didn't know that? It's called God's land. See a native. Meaning it's forbidden territory. They know about it in Hawaii. It was approved in the United States paleface. If I travel to Hawaii, I become a haole. Don't feel bad for me, Argentina. I'm a Ukrainian. I know genocide. I'm in the pain of it. So watch. Christopher Columbus came over here, and if you want to call it a fair deal where they bought the land from them, They did perform genocide and dang near slaughter 2/3 of them in the United States. I think the rough story would be about a third of them that survived, that made the deal with them, probably warned where Mexico is now, those people in below, meaning the Incas and the Mayans, that some serious crap was coming, and a bunch of boats kept coming and coming and coming. But a lot of the settlers didn't know this. However, behind the scenes, the government that came over here, called explorers, would go and find out to get more territory. I think they were only sold that 1/3 part where the Mississippians are. And the rest of it was still Mexico, and then they did the same thing with genocide, but they hit a bunch of trees. The trees marked God's land. And when some of the locals found out, meaning the settlers, they explained to them a lie. It means God's land, rolling arroyos, it's ours now, a land grab. It's a land grab and genocide. If I was to go to Santa Monica, smoke all of Santa Monica, and I'm being facetious here, law enforcement, but if everyone got killed in Santa Monica and I moved into a high-rise and I'm the only one there, and the last survivor, I talked into selling it to me for any dollar amount, do you think I could look God in the eye and tell him that that was a fair deal? Except that's Santa Monica. We're talking about the United States, folks, and Canada. No way. Who was Christopher Columbus up there, yo? Looks like they talked French. Anywho, when they mowed down those trees that marked God's land, just like all you people in MUFON are very silly, you're not supposed to go and dig up graves. What kind of common sense are you? You're serious weirdos. Skinwalker Ranch, they're sticking probes and pretending a helicopter doesn't fly right, and he said there was no wind. There's rudder, elevation controls, a throttle, get real. These guys are looking for suckers all day long, and you're it. And if you want to subscribe to their site, God bless you. Clickety-clack, flip-flop hack, don't come back. Go get some flip-flops. I'll give you good super glue, and get any old tiles, like floor tiles, and super glue them on the bottom. From NASA, Space Shuttle Columbia will do. It's going to be hotter than heck where you're going. You're really, really, really messing with God. But your future's been determined, it looks like. Because you see at Skinwalker Ranch, black seems to be a main color theme. Good guys wear white, folks. Not black. They also don't carry weapons. They also don't put a fence up around a temple and don't let the natives in. You should ask the natives surrounding those areas if they're willing to sell their goods to them. I'd bet the answer is no, since they bring it in from Canada, because Canada doesn't know them that well. And it's average goods. It's not your good stuff from the natives. They got the cheap stuff, so way to go, natives. So look, there's a place in Texas this is happening too. Everywhere cattle mutilations is happening doesn't happen in the other areas. That's the map. Meaning, I'm in a part of Colorado where my sheriff's never seen one, never had a case on the books. And if we go up north or south, they have happened. Means I'm not on God's land, thank God. Did something right, in addition to not voting for any presidents. What? Left and right? And this goes out to the dudes in the military in Texas that think they're night crawlers, night worms. Humble and meek, don't turn a cheek or a blind eye at the end of time. Which part of that is your commando techniques of command and control and conquer? Not really a place for you guys in heaven. Clippity clock, don't come back, yo. And the times there's watchers watching, really simple. You need to fly straight like an arrow, like the natives told you, like a bird. Keep your eyes on the prize as God. That's how you get the third eye. If you're left ring or white wing, you made a mistake. You're flying in circles and your journey is not going to go forward silly. Left or right means turn with the bird. What's in the middle? It's out of sight dynamite. Ready? Your mind, heart, and soul of a bird. That's why natives meditate with birds. But they don't choose left or right. Left or right was never in the United States when the natives were here. It was brought here, imported, like chocolate. Look it up. So, if this was native land, given to the natives by the three-hearted peoples through God and told to take control of it and enjoy themselves, and they're Mother Earth specialists, not gardeners, because you have to know about the weather, storms, the tides. You really need to be good stuff. These people are outstanding. And by the way, if Texas, everything's bigger and better, I'm going to go past you to Mexico because their mother is specialist, and I've seen their strawberries. They're way bigger than yours. Good luck, Chuck. So, Skinwalker Ranch and Sylvie's Ranch on the left and right of the map, and the natives that were nomadic would have been able to go through the center, and even Stephen, they could have looked to the left and the right, and maybe stopped off at their temple and said hello, traded, what have you. But the temples are missing. What's a temple? Temple and a pyramid are the same thing when they're erect. But when you collapse them, they become burial grounds. Very good. There's bodies in there. Who in their right mind thought it was correct to go into the Egyptian pyramids and dig up grave sites, run them across the street to a museum for the public to see if they were not meant to be showcased? That's very disrespectful. You can consider the curse a no trespass. You can consider one heck of an alarm system. Law enforcement, look, 4 foot thick of block and traps in there, booby traps and curses. Put 2 and 2 together. This is home invasion. They left the alarm on, said they'd be right back. Third eye, everything comes in threes. Ready? Past, present, and future was revealed by Nikola Tesla, but he said it already happened. So if you think of an album that you put on a record player, and the past, present, and future is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, and it's already happened, put another record on top of it. That means we're on the middle timeline, going to the advanced, we're at the end of the middle, but the first one already happened. The past, present, and future. Then it went back to the past, and now we're on the present. Meaning, we must have blown this planet up at that end of the timeline because it seemed to have started over. Anywho, interesting, Nikola Tesla revealed that. But Tesla, Nikola Tesla, the real Tesla, not the guy digging down into Mother Earth's back. Remember, the natives of South Dakota, North Dakota, and Wyoming have called the planet off. They sent an SOS to God as follows. Mother Earth is being raped because all the last of the water supplies have oil lines. What's at the bottom of the ocean and on land and potentially on the moon and the planets and the stars in the solar system? We found ruins here. They're at the bottom of the ocean and elsewhere. The government doesn't want you to know because when they put oil lines down there and dig through graves, they don't care. They tell you the bottom of the ocean ain't mapped out. Didn't a submarine just go down towards the Titanic very deep? And there's sensors under there. That's why the animals are attacking. That detect thermonuclear weapons, war games are beautiful government. And they're supercharged so loud it's not disclosed what their purpose or their power source is, nor how many amps. And because it's bouncing out sonar, animals are beaching themselves and attacking. Good luck, Chuck, with that. Sounds like the end of times, man. Disease, storms, angels. So, let's hack the Bible real quick. Adam and Eve. This will explain God's land if you're religious. God, and simplify, don't tell me the story, I'm telling you. Clear your mind. Adam and Eve, a tree. God said no. One of them did it. What was the moral of the story? You're going to say sin, of course. What was the other moral of the story? Oh, you didn't realize the Bible was just like the instructions at the pyramids and on the walls in the caves. They're codexes. There's way more than one meaning. Which ones are right? Very interesting. If you were a theist, you'd fly a bird over it and see clearly they're at one tree in a field. No others are mentioned. It's a map. Because I can guarantee you Adam and Eve ate some apples and God would have wanted them to enjoy that glory. It's also a lesson like the natives taught you. Take a little bit and leave the rest for other people to enjoy, and the animals and God's natural process. Did we do that in the United States? Not even close. We keep destroying and destroying and man. Progress. So how would I recycle everything? I'm glad you asked. There's rocks that perform binary fission and multiple fission. And all you people at MUFON don't know that definition, which is Basic Biology 101. In other words, if you went to college for 1 month, took Biology 101, they handed you a microscope and a slide, and a month later you left and you're stoned, you'd have learned about an amoeba and all of its responses, and how to do an experiment. I never hear MUFON talk about the parts list, the actual experiment that they performed. I see them come to conclusions based on like the helicopter on that really slick Skinwalker Ranch. So they lost altitude and the only data they gave away was there was no wind, so everyone said the assumption was it was unnatural. But yet any pilot would know there's all kinds of controls. Things freeze at temperature, like fuel. There's so many things that can go wrong, it's ridiculous. But hey, it's a black chopper. They chose the right color. Once again, to lie to you. And learn what all the controls are in a chopper. You can feather the throttle and make that thing bounce around. Ask the dudes that snap the heck in a mile high clip like me. I'll tell you how to feather the rudder and the throttle at the same time. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Anywho, you don't even have the whole data. You don't even know how a helicopter works, and you're talking about UFOs. You're comical. You also use things that are terms that are native, sacred to God and to the natives. Skinwalker's registered trademark of a theist. The people that came here were not theists, they were religious. It's illegal to have it on the bill. Religious rights. I thought you could sue for that. Skinwalker Ranch and Sylvie's Ranch should have been roped off as sacred land for natives only, because they don't even go there. And if you want to verify this, there's a lady that yelled that's a native. We heard you loud and clear in heaven, honey. We love you too. She yelled at somebody that took a hike to do a selfie. So selfish, so silly. I guess he thinks he can go anywhere. That native couldn't even go to the top of that volcano, let alone take a selfie. Very disrespectful. But people in MUFON do it all the time and teach you to do it. Good luck, Chuck. Hey, flip-flop, clickety-clack, don't come back. If they're selling in MUFON a disclosure and there's no priests, pastors, or rabbis in there, you all are schnozzle-dozzle weenies. Why? Where's God in disclosure? You're only doing aliens and UFOs and wait for it. The Galactic Federation? That sounds Star Trek. So does your version of morphogenesis. Your shape-shifting word is Star Trek straight up. Once again, morphogenesis, and if you look it up, many animals in the ocean, especially the Mariana Trench, perform that function. Never heard MUFON talk about it. As a matter of fact, they've reviewed that animal. They said it was unintelligent, and they thought it was alien and or a UFO. Once again, bogus. That's called a sea walnut, folks. Oh, I forgot. Third eye. My only favorite animal is a sea walnut, a cat, and a crane. Crane because they're clumsy, and then when they go, they've got the ultimate glide ratio, so they don't have to flap their wings too much like you guys. A cat because of the Sphinx. It's the only animal on land at the Egyptian pyramids. Cat's God's favorite animal, I guarantee you. Mine's somewhere. Little bastard. Whoops, you got me. Anywho, the Egyptian pyramids are the advanced timeline, just so you know, since it already happened. The Inca and Mayan pyramids are the middle timeline, and the ones that are missing that used to be at Skinwalker Ranch and Sylvie's Ranch were of a mud adobe design. When the people were killed off, turned into a graveyard. Those dudes are out there building on it, man. Guys at Sylvia's Ranch, good luck to you, man. Glad you're fenced in. Hope you guys stay in there when the end of times happens. Because if you listen to the natives, they told you all about the thunderbird. It flies, swims, and lands on land. On God's land. I gave you the map religiously, meaning don't trespass on God's land. That was the moral of the story on Adam and Eve, the big one that you missed. And the natives marked it here. But it's marked also in Russia, where, somewhere near Siberia, where clearly on the dyatlovpass.com site, there's a picture of one of those trees that says God's land in it, guaranteed. And they went past it. And they found the thunderbird. And if you look at two of their images, it matches cattle mutilations, which matches South Africa, which matches South America. What happened with the Chupa Chupas was true, where that guy that now is a military government subcontractor at MUFON conventions, you know, the Las Vegas dude with the inflatable dildo in space and went out of business. He bought the file, gave it to the government, bought Sylvie's Ranch, tried to catch one and give it to the government. What do we call those in religion? I think we call them angels. Could be a fallen angel. If you read the Bible and any instruction manuals, I thought they stayed in the caves till the end of time and were released, where the government's gone down there with robotic dogs and lasers to kill them. Sounds like when they conquered the natives, all the plants and animals in the United States, whoa, a lot of them going extinct and all the water's dead. They don't seem to care. They're now transporting thermonuclear weapons to space through Elon Musk. He said stay in the middle, but he didn't tell you the truth. Here's how you get to heaven, folks. You don't play with other people's grave sites. It's like swiping right on the first date and going from first to third base, and the dad has a shotgun, dude. Fly straight as an arrow like the natives taught me. Credit natives, not me. An eagle flies straight with a third eye when they meditate because they're not left wing. They're not right wing. The middle body contains the heart, soul, and mind. That's what you're supposed to train for the afterlife, to achieve the third eye, that an eagle always looking up at the moon, sun, and the stars. Get real. They love looking up. Pooping down on you. There you have it. So cattle mutilations are caused by thunderbirds or angels or souls by God. What's the scientific value? Meaning, what's the chemical composition? If you flowchart an amoeba underneath a microscope, just like my first video said, and you do a laser, just like they showed in the Palm Springs, Morongo Valley, to out in the middle of the desert there, some guys chased them, and I showed it on a video. When they chase them to the left or the right, they repel from it. When you do that with an amoeba under a microscope, same. When you see the temperatures, they react the same way. When you see them perform binary and multiple fission, not one of you, all you dudes in MUFON, including your spies within you, like the guy from that punk band. They punked you hard, man. All he cares about is drugs and weed and the Jesus pictures. I don't think he wants to go to heaven, man. Why? He had a bookseller. Yeah, the original cattle mutilations, Horror Babylon, sold the materials that were supposedly Linda MUFON how? $100 books is what she sells. 50 to 100 on average. Yo, it's $17.50 on Amazon and Kindle. And lies. lies and more lies and fuzzy pictures and come to our convention, we're going to do the disclosure. Where's the rabbis, priests, and people who know what they're talking about? I wonder if they realize the person that does the disclosure has to fix every single problem on the planet and disclose how to do it and then how all the problems occurred. But they're doing aliens and UFOs, forgot about the true Galactic Federation, God, Jesus Christ Superstar, the Holy Spirit on the religious side, and on the theism side, God and the three-hearted peoples. And if you're agnostic and you didn't get into trouble, God's going to say achoo, you say God bless you, you're in. The rest of you, flip-flop, hack. And that's all of MUFON, quite frankly. If you thought it was okay to go play on grave sites, and it's okay to go into grave sites where you weren't supposed to see, and there was a curse there, and you said, who cares? That's on you. I didn't do that. Silly, silly you. Anyway, I'm going to break this into a few videos and smoke a bowl and come back because I'm 10 steps ahead of you guys. That's for sure, Ski. And we're going to talk about quite a bit more. Or go to MUFON. I think they're doing a disclosure. How about the Pentagon? No, the president, he doesn't realize he's even himself. It says you on pieces of paper, which means he's late stage dementia or Alzheimer's on medication. My mom was that way. She was so suggestible, it's ridiculous. I think everyone's getting scammed here. Elon Musk said stay in the middle. I think he was talking about that bird in the third eye. Why is he talking about theism taking thermonuclear weapons to space? I bet you they steal the data out there just like they did from the natives and then destroy it. Did you know that the Incas and the Mayans warned the native tribes around Lake Baikal in Siberia that this was coming for them? Did you know they warned us Ukrainians too when they traveled to Europe? They told my grandpa. He told my mom. And both of them told me. Coming soon. The real disclosure. Or you can go over to MUFON. But you might have noticed a lot of different weather patterns, disease, I don't know, the threat of thermonuclear war. Did you notice that the thermohydral vents between South America and South Africa are clogged? And a lot of others because of COVID. Those ships out in the ocean, those big cruise ships, dumped it all. No one would let anyone come in the shore and dump. You didn't expect them all to die, so they sacrificed the animals. And hey, South America, or South Africa has a big crack in it. Part of it's going to slide off in the ocean. It's the end of times, folks. There's a lot more problems. 45,000 satellites in space, and a bunch of them are space junk. If I take my trash out to the front of my street and put it in the middle of the street and stop the traffic flow, my neighbors are going to complain. 45,000 pieces, God's going to complain. And you're taking away the natives' true visuals of the sun, the moon, and the stars with that piece of crap Starlink, which is a copy of the game Centipede. If he points it towards supersonic weapons, hopefully it hits one of the pieces. That's where that design came from, by the way. It's a military application that happens to do internet. Why did the government know that the Ukraine was going to get invaded 2 years prior to us getting invaded? That's kind of interesting. Sorry, I just realized it was doing the flashing. Weird how I know the whole timeline. Weird how a lot of law enforcement's investigating my data. You ain't got nothing on me. Coming soon, the disclosure. And am I going to make it to heaven? Am I getting a flip-flop pack? Going to HELL. More to come, and then I got a bunch of writings that I'm just going to read from my Facebook. Talk about the third eye Hacker Club Anonymous, My Thoughts, quite a few other things. Cattle mutilations will be revisited in detail, and I'll do like a part 1-2 reading on it, and then I'll do a little photo catalog since you're so lazy. My video 3.5 years ago solved it. By the way, the nearest sheriff station to Sylvia's Ranch is Harney County. He's a douchebag. After he said it, he was completely convinced. He asked me how to kill it 3 times. Wonder what the natives would think of that. Wonder if they'd support him. Wonder if God would support him and he'd know what to say to him. That he killed God's finest animal that swims, flies, lands on land. And an angel. People are douchebags. End of times, yo. Every move is a dope move, but you're getting Kung Fu Panda to the left and right by God, and you're not doing good. You went left or right? Stay in the middle. The middle is the solution. To the left, let's say, is the problem, or the right, and the solution's on the other side, and get into the middle, or you get into action and stop talking. And I wanted to point out to mufon something you've never ever in a million years thought of explaining to people. You're saying there's an alien invasion and all this stuff. Did you realize if Jesus Christ, superstar, the Holy Spirit, God, and the 300 peoples tried to land in the United States, that the government would attack us with F-35 apples? Did you know that? Have they ever mentioned something like that? No, it's by my book, and it's a chupacabra this week. By the way, they rotate through all the native sayings over and over and over again, grinding their way to the bottom of the earth, to H-E-double-L. Hope they enjoy their flip-flop pack. Really silly people, folks. And I guarantee you a pastor ain't going to be a guest speaker there. And I'm going to guess that all those scientists are agnostics or fattening up their paychecks. Big time. Big time. Sinners or saints, it's up to you. End of times, yo. And by the way, we're going to do a whole lot of talk on the difference between a Latin American and a native. One of them is spiritual, and the one that took religion went against their own people, and most likely they drink, drive a car, drink water out of a plastic bottle. That's the difference. And you might have beautiful native blood in you, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to deny that. But your native people, if you haven't been helping them, you missed the Rasmussen. You went way too far and you should have helped them. They needed your help and you turned a blind eye, a cheek to them, your own people. And by the way, when you call me a gringo, I'm a Ukrainian in a pain of genocide. Only words approved were paleface and howly. Anywho, coming up, part 2. From the local gringo. Got some Spanish family too, bro. Coming soon, part 2. The super glue for your new tile hack.